Yo, what's good? So today I'm going to be making the part 3 to my Type Soul PvP guide, and in this video I'm going to be covering my by far most asked question on Discord, and that is going to be builds. So I'm going to split this video up into 2 different parts. The first part is going to be for you guys that just want a quick and easy build to run. I'm going to be talking about the races, the Shikas and Shrifts, the skill trees that you want to run with those Shikas and Shrifts, and also the skill box that you're going to want to use too. The second part is going to be where I go more in depth. So I'm going to be talking about skill trees in general. I'm going to be talking about different stat combinations. I'm also going to be talking about what makes them good. And then I'm going to end it off and I'm going to give all of them a rating, or, you know, just put them on a tier list or something like that. And without further ado, let's just hop straight into the first part. Before this video starts, I want to say that I made a community Discord server for you guys. So if you guys want to join to participate in future subscriber events, like, you know, I might do a video in the future where I coach one of you guys and try and, you know, help you get more elo, or, you know, giveaways, or if you just want to interact with me or my community, then make sure you end up joining that. I'm going to put a link in the description so you guys can go join. And also, if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe, it would genuinely mean a lot to me. I put a lot of time and effort into these videos. As you can see, it's almost 30-minute long, and it just takes me a while to make these. So if I can see that they're doing well, then I'll definitely end up making more of this type of content in the future for you guys. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed. This took a while, and, you know, enjoy the video. So starting this video off, I'm going to be talking about a couple of builds that I use for my Soul Reaper. The first one is going to be 45 speed and 20 kendo. I use Black Claw and Flash Fang. For my Shikai, I use Shinto. And then for my weapon, I use Rapier. Going on to the next build, it's going to be for SR Keto. The Shikai that you're going to want to be using is going to be Kyoka Suigetsu. Kyoka and Keto is a really broken combo right now, and Kyoka actually just got buffed, so it's amazing. You're going to want to use Shinten Raiho, and then you're also going to want to use Goryu, which is the Hado 99, the dragons, for your skill boxes. For, you know, the Shikai, going to be Kyoka. For your weapon, you're probably going to want to use Rapier too, but Scythe is also like a very good alternative for Shikai that you can use for the Keto build. Moving on to Kendo, we're going to talk about Water. Water Kendo is a really good combination. It gives you a lot of movement, race steal, and posture stack, so it's just a pretty broken combination in general. For this build, you're going to want to run 40 kendo, and then you also want to go 25 speed so you can get pressure shifts. For your skill boxes, you're going to want to run Crescent Relief, and you're also going to want to run Black Claw. And then for your weapon, you're either going to want to run Rapier, which is, you know, my favorite weapon, or Longsword. Longsword is really good with kendo because of the crit block breaks, and well, if you block break them, you can use Rising Swallow, and it does a lot of damage. But, you know, Rapier, Longsword, Scythe, 3 best SR weapons. You can use them on pretty much any build. And then for your Shikai, it's pretty flexible. You could use Blood, Ice, what else? Benihime, Duality, Kyoka, Snow, Blood, Ice, Assimilation, Water. But, you know, as I said, you know, Water is my favorite build, so that's what I would run with Kendo and SR. And the last thing is going to be Hakata. SR Hakata is god tier right now. It is the broken, it's in my opinion the best skill tree in the game right now. And for this build, you're going to want to go 50 Hakata and then 15 speed. You're going to want to go air style Hakata since it's a lot better than ground Hakata right now. I know I said that ground Hakata was better than air, but, you know, some things have come to light recently that makes air Hakata a lot better than ground, and that has to do with the SR Hakata weapons. So if you guys don't know, all of the SR Hakata weapons actually up tilt now. So Muay Thai up tilts, Formless up tilts, you know, all of that up tilts now, so you can combo them off the crits. So that makes SR air Hakata completely broken right now. For your skill boxes, you're going to want to run Shori and Gehenna. Those are the 2 best Hakata skill boxes you run on pretty much every Hakata build. And then for your Shikai, you can either run Wind, which if you were watching Nano Prodigy's, what's it called, 1,000-hour wager, there was a Wind Muay Thai user. You can run Creation, which is Mikaze's build. Fire would also be good. Zangetsu would also be good. Snow would also be good. Duality is also good. You know, any of the Shikais I named just there would be pretty good on these builds. So let's just get straight into the Arrancar now. So now that we're on Arrancar honestly doesn't have that much versatility. It's pretty much the same build, just on different skill trees. So the build that I run on Arrancar is 40 speed, 25 kendo, and I use the /C. For my skill boxes, I run Crescent Relief, and I have Strata Strike on right now, but it's an outdated build, and instead of Strata Strike, I would use Black Claw over this. The weapon that I use is Nut Lance, and that's pretty much it. You can run partial core in this build. It's pretty much the only, you know, essence you can run. And it's basically the same thing for Kendo. You would just run the same thing. They said you would just run 40 Kendo, 25 speed, Crescent Relief, and Black Claw. For my Cero path, I just use Finger Cero, and then, you know, Cero Skiris. Arrancar, those are the two pretty much best builds in Arrancar in my opinion. Until you see all the sweats running. You don't have to use Nelio Lance if you don't want to, but it's a really good weapon right now because there's a ranged block break that stuns, you know, a pretty good amount, and the M1s also have a lot of range too. But if you don't want to use Nelio, the next two best options are going to be the Yuki Katana and then Ellipsin. Both weapons have really good guard breaks and they're just very consistent. You see a lot of the sweats using these weapons. But yeah, that's pretty much the only builds you really use on Arrancar. Arrancar Keto and Arrancar Hakuda is really trash, and I would not recommend using either of these skill trees. But if you were going to use Arrancar Keto, I would say that you should go to hybrid build, which is going to be 35 Keto and then 30 Hakuda, or maybe it's the other way around, I'm not sure. I don't play Keto. Let me see. Yeah, no, you run 35 Keto and then 30 Hakuda. Your skill boxes are going to be Shori and Gehenna, and you're going to need to be on proficiency variant for this. For this build specifically. Proficiency variant makes it to where your Keto moves, they stun a lot, and if you're watching Nano's $1,000 tournament, there was a guy on this build, but it's not very, you know, I guess like honorable in my opinion. It's kind of a yo, so editing Nico here. The recording got corrupted whenever I started talking about Arrancar Hakuda, so I'm just gonna do like a quick segment on it right here. Arrancar Hakuda is really trash and I would not recommend running it at all, but if you really do like the skill tree, you want to run it, go 50 Hakuda and then you want to go 15 speed. You're probably going to want to either run Slash or Storm with it, like Acid works too. I think Slash, Storm, and Acid are just like the universal three, really good, and like Arrancar partials you can use with anything. And you know, 50 Hakuda, 15 speed, and then Grimjaw Claw for your weapon. Your skill boxes are going to be Shori and Gehenna. Then I would say go Cero Grab, because you can use Cero Grab after Spine End. Then you can like confirm like a combo with that. So it's not really that good though, I'm not gonna lie. Please don't go Arrancar Hakuda. If you want to go Hakuda, just go Soul Reaper, like even Quincy, to be honest, just anything but Arrancar. But if you really want to go, those are the stats I think you should go. Alright, the best variant right now, in my opinion, is gonna be Hero, because the Shadow Nerf dodge variant, you still can't stack dodge variant with moves. You can't stack certain moves with dodge variant, so it's kind of weird. If you watch some of my clips, you would see that I would stack dodge with flashbang and it would do a bunch of damage, but I'm pretty sure they removed that, or last time I played they removed it. I don't know, I heard it's back, but I'm not very sure. If you don't want to run Slash C, you can also run the Storm, which I would run the Storm X move. The Acid Z move is also really good. Pantera X is also pretty good. What else is good? Vampire, every move on Vamp is good. And then the light moves are kind of good, but besides that, I wouldn't really run any of the res, in my opinion. So Quincy is where the builds get a lot more versatile. With Quincy, you can go a lot of different builds because the shrifts, all of them are really good. So the shift you choose doesn't really matter that much, it's just preference, but we can start off with my build. So I run 55 speed and 10 Keto. It's kind of a weird stat investment, but you'll see why in a second. So you go all the way up to 55 speed to get Skyscraper. You also do it to get Yamato, and then you also get Unseen Blade too. Yamato on Quincy is really good because the crit is broken. It's just a dash that guard breaks and it does a good amount of damage, and it also gives you soul style too. So Quincy Yamato is a really broken weapon, and I would recommend using it if you have, you know, Dimensional Shard and the stat investment too. Unseen Blade is the what's it called, the essence I run, because True Blood got removed and Unseen Blade is better for combo potential in my opinion. You go 10 Keto to get Piercing Light, which is only a 8 Keto stat investment move. It is like a pretty good move. You just dash forward and do 2 slashes. It does a lot of damage too if you hit both parts of it. It's just an overall really good move for 10 to only 8-point investment. And then also, I think it's better than Time Cut in my opinion. Time Cut is the worst move in the game, to be honest. Time Cut is terrible. It takes so much ray, it brings you way too far forward and doesn't do that much damage, and plus it's really easy to flash step out of. So I would not recommend picking up Time Cut unless like you have nothing else that's worth the stat investment, and Piercing Light is a lot better. For my shift, I use balance because, you know, it's good guard break and it also heals. But you could use pretty much any of the shrifts. So I'm going to go over which shrifts you can use on pretty much any build, because they're all really good. So balance is good, death dealing is good, miracle, visionary, superstar, zombie, nimble's broken right now. Nimble and overkill are top 2 shrifts right now. They're really good. Heat is also really good. Wind is sneaky good. Compulsory got shadow buffed, I'm pretty sure, so I think it's good right now, but I don't know because I haven't tested it out myself. For the weapon you're going to want to use for this build specifically, it's going to be Yamato, but if you don't have Yamato, you just don't have the stat investment, Karen and Spalton are your next runner-up like weapons that you can use, but I think Karen is the best weapon in my opinion just because the M1s are so good. But yeah, so that's like overall what you could use for every build. But so I'm just gonna kind of like speed run through this what's it called, next part. So kendo, same build as always, 40 kendo, 25 speed. Skill boxes are going to be Crescent Relief and Black Claw. You run these skill boxes because it's the 2 best skill boxes in the game. And for your shrifts, if anything, I would recommend Death Dealing or Zombie. Death Dealing, Zombie, Balance, Visionary, those 4 I would recommend. Nimble too. Kendo and Quincy is honestly kind of mid. I don't think it's very good just because of how much better speed on Quincy is because of, you know, Yamato, the combo potential and stuff like that. So if you want to play Kendo, I'd recommend playing Arrancar because Kendo is a lot better than Arrancar, but Kendo and Quincy is still okay. The Mursama on Quincy is kind of mid, to be honest, and I wouldn't run it unless you're using the Legacy. The Legacy one is pretty good, but you know, I would still rather go speed instead. Quincy Keto is pretty good, but it's kind of cheesy, so I don't like using it. For this build, you would just go 50 Keto, 15 speed. For your skill boxes, you're gonna run, what is it called? I think it's called, it's Holy Thunder and then Lift Regen. Both of those moves are really good and, you know, just very versatile too. And then for your shrifts, I would say you should run X-Axis because it's really cheesy and you can like cheese them from far away. But if you don't like that, I think Death Dealing is the next best thing besides X-Axis. For Hakuda, I think Quincy Hakuda is kind of mid, but the weapons on Quincy Hakuda are really good. You can go ground Hakuda with a Warden crit, and you can do the Warden crit into Ankle Splitter, which is a true combo, I'm pretty sure, and it disables their flash step, so they're kind of just forced to tank the combos. But if you want to, you go air style with the Dummies God, the Hakuda weapon. The Dummies God weapon on Quincy is really good. It's just the auto aim, high posture move that, you know, is kind of forces them to block or at least counter it. It's just overall pretty good. I think Quincy Hakuda is mid, but the weapons are really good, so it makes up for it. It's definitely better than Arrancar Hakuda, but it's nowhere near SR Hakuda. And so that's pretty much all I have to say about the Quincy builds. For Quincy, if you can, get Devil Trigger because Devil Trigger is broken. If not, I would say you should just run boost variant Let's. Don't run a Cyber. It's never worth running a Cyber. It's just never worth it running a Cyber just to get rid of Let's. Let's is a lot better than Cyber blocks. Not like having my Y keybind anyway. So I would just say you should run Let's instead. And then for the last part, let's just go straight to the Fullbringer builds. So moving on to the Fullbringer builds, and yes, I know I'm shocked. I don't have a CC token, bro. Spam me. The Fullbringer builds, I think they're a lot just easier. I don't play this much. My friend progged this Fullbringer on one of my accounts, and so this is just what I'm using. You know, it's my friend's account. Right now he's on 50 Hakuda and 15 speed, Book of the End. Take that how you will. I'm not gonna comment on that because I don't know what the fuck Fullbring does, to be honest. All of the Fullbrings are pretty much god. Chess it's really good, but if your opponent just S-holds you, then there's nothing, you know, you can really do about it. Book of the End is god. Time Tells No Lies is god. Zangetsu is god. Dollhouse is god. I don't know what Devil's Arm does, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, pretty much every Fullbring is god, and you know, you can use them on any build. I think Fullbring is kind of just gonna be the same thing. For speed, I'll probably just go, honestly, I think I just go like either 50, there's like 60 speed with Book of the End. Book of the End seems like it'd be really good with speed because you kind of need to be up close to them for like your moves to work, and so speed gives you a lot of pressure with that. For Kendo, I'd probably say either Chess for the posture stack, or I would say Zangetsu, just because Zangetsu is broken as fuck and then you could like Rising Swallow them after you use the pull move on them. For Keto, I don't know what Fullbringer Keto does, to be honest. I think I fought it like twice and it was really bad, so don't go Fullbringer Keto. I'm not even gonna entertain giving a build for it. And then, you know, Hakuda, you can just copy the build that I'm using right now, you know, 50 Hakuda, 15 speed. I think Devil's Arm is actually 4 Hakuda. I don't know, but Maybe Devil's Arm is good with it, but I know Zangetsu is probably good with it because the pull move is broken as fuck, and you can just probably catch and dragon him off it. It also has a lot of hyper armor and block breaks. But yeah, you know, that's pretty much it with Fullbringer. I don't know that much about it, so I'm sorry if this isn't very helpful, but I think you guys should just experiment with Fullbringer and then figure out which builds you like. So let's get straight into the in-depth explanations on the builds. Yo, so I'm gonna go pop True Bankai on a bunch of freshies over here. See y'all are entertained while I talk about this. But I think the so like, what's it called? In this game, right? The skill trees in this game, they just really depends on like what you like. So what I think that you should do is really just experiment with what you like and try out things. In my like personal opinion, I think that just sorry, I'm trying to focus on like getting them. Maybe this wasn't a good idea. But yeah, anyways, I think you should just really experiment with what you want to try out and then figure out what you want to do. In my opinion, I think a great beginner skill tree is what's it called, Kendo? Animation is bad as fuck. Do you guys like the Shinso animation? Look at this shit, it's pretty cool. Well, I think Kendo is really great beginner skill tree. It just doesn't have a lot of variety. I think you should never go more than 40 Kendo. Yeah, I think you should never go more than 40 Kendo. Maybe this wasn't a good idea because I'm trying to focus when I do this, but 40 Kendo and 25 speed is a really good beginner friendly high damage build. I think, you know, it's just, once again, you know, really good beginner friendly high damage. And I think if you're a beginner, that is what I would recommend to most new players. It's also like, in my opinion, like pretty brain dead. Oh, is it Benny? He made Bankai. It's inviting me to a party. I'm gonna get cracked. What's this again? Sorry. But I think it's just, that's what a lot of the sweats use. And you can just see that. He's not executing it. Is he executing it? It's what a lot of the sweats use, and I think, like, in my opinion, the best players in the game, they all run Kendo. So, if you want to, watch this. My bad. So, I think Kendo is just, like, a really good thing to run in general. It's very high, like, it's very, like, low skill floor, I guess, and, like, a high skill ceiling. So, also another thing I would recommend is, if you should like really stick to one skill tree. A lot of people, they ask me, oh, what's the best build for this, what's the best build for that? Bro, stick to one skill tree and just get really good at one skill tree. I don't think you should really be changing up like your build a lot, and when it just comes to your build, just stick to one skill tree, and I think Kendo is a great option. Remember, you want to go just, you know, 40 Kendo, 25 speed, and then, sorry if you guys can hear my keyboard, by the way. Usually I don't do this while I'm you know, doing something in game. But, you know, I think it would just be pretty fun to watch you guys. But, yeah, so that's just the first build that I recommend. It also gives you the counter too, which counters are just a really good thing to have in general. Yeah, so it's just an overall really versatile, amazing build you guys should run. The next thing I think you guys should run is 40 speed, 25 Kendo. That combo is really good. And, hopefully these guys didn't die. I want to cutscene him. Oh, I can't fucking cutscene him. Let me try to. There we go. Nice. So, sorry, I'm yapping too much. I think this True Bankai is distracting me. Let me move on to the next thing, which is speed. So, speed is the same thing. I think it's really low skill floor, but it's also very, very high skill ceiling. I think speed is the highest skill ceiling in the game when it comes to moves. Speed is just a really good skill tree, and it's my favorite skill tree in general, but it's honestly hard to hit like raw speed moves. Like when it comes to Kendo and speed moves, you can throw out a lot more Kendo moves and they'll end up hitting, but when it comes to speed, you can't really throw out moves and they'll just hit unless, you know, you're fighting a robot, which, you know, doesn't, you know, there's a lot of robots in the game, but if you really want to get good at the game, you can't just throw out speed moves randomly. You know, you can, a lot of people spam speed moves and like it does catch me off guard. Especially when I'm fighting like robots who just spam speed moves. If you guys like saw on the live stream, I think I lost this one kid who was just like spamming speed moves. And yeah, I'm recording. I think I just lost this one kid who's spamming speed moves and shit. And you know, it shouldn't have happened, but you know, it is really easy to spam speed moves and you can still win. But I think speed is a really high skill ceiling, and if you want to get good at speed, then, you know, it's definitely something you should try out. With speed, there's a lot of variations you can go. There's 60 speed, there's 45-20, and then there is 40-25. in my opinion, I think 40-25 is again the best because it gives you the counter, and the counter, having a counter in this game is so important. You kind of need a counter to survive. The only reason I run 45-20 is because my Shikai has the counter, so I kind of can afford to you know, not like need to run the counter. I want to grip this kid. I want him ready for the cutscene. Oh, I bricked. Embarrassing, bro. Anyways, so shit, what was I gonna say? So the reason I run 45-20 is because my Shikai has a counter, but 45-20 is a lot better than 40-25 if you have the counter, like if you can just, you know, run the counter on your Shikai, because you get enhanced steps, swift slashes, and waterfall dance for a literal like 5 speed point investment. And enhanced steps is broken. You can just, it gives you way more dodge frames. Let me see if I can cutscene this guy now. Damn, yeah. Alright, 3 cutscenes in 1 Bankai. So anyways, right, the enhanced, bro, swift slashes is one of the most sneaky broken moves in the game, man. It is so fucking broken. You can confirm so many moves off the swift slashes. It's honestly crazy how many moves you can confirm off the swift slashes. Am I Bankai ends? Oh, I did. That's weird. That's all the bar left. Anyways, right, so it's kind of crazy how just many moves you can confirm off swift slashes, and also you can use it off of building strike, skyscraper. It's really sneaky broken, and the fact you can get it with 45 speed, I feel like the devs are gonna nerf it. I feel like they're gonna make the requirement higher, just because, you know, this 45 speed is kind of low for how good of a move it is. But this 45 speed variant is really good, but I'd only run it if you can get the counter from your Shikai. If you can't, then I would say just run what's it called, pressure shifts instead, right? The 40-25 is better. And then full speed, it's a little bit worse than both of these variants I talked about, just because full speed lacks a lot of damage, and then the secondary reason you run Kendo on these builds is because Kendo makes up for the damage that you lack with speed, so they complement each other really well. So full speed, it lacks damage, but it has a lot of like combo potential, and it also has like a lot of pressure. You can just, you have so much pressure on these speed builds, right? So I think the speed is overall really good, and I forgot to give the ratings. Fuck. If I had to rate, you know, just speed in general, I'd say it's definitely like an A to like high A tier, you know, maybe low S tier skill tree, and just the moves that you get from it are just really valuable, and it's just a really high skill ceiling, you know, skill tree, and I'd recommend it to, you know, new players who want to get, you know, really good at the game. Keto is kind of just like the cheese. I think there are like, I don't even think there's any like skillful keto like, you know, builds in the game, but keto, you know, it's race dependent. Same thing with Hakuda. Hakuda is also race dependent. So keto just like overall depends. Arrancar keto trash, Quincy keto pretty good, SR keto god. I think, you know, it really just depends on what race you're on, but like if you want to run it. But I think it's not exactly no skill for a lot of them. I think Arrancar keto is no skill, and I think Quincy keto is no skill. I think SR keto requires like a teensy amount of skill, just because you have to like know what each move does and how to use it. I don't think it's really skill. I just think it takes getting used to. Like, I think you could put a new player on Quincy keto and, you know, Arrancar keto, and they do fine. But if you put a new player on SR keto, they wouldn't do, you know, that good, right? So I think it just takes getting used to, and it really just is really race dependent. But I think it's just a good skill tree. You know, if you want to play keto, like if that's your thing, you like to play zoning builds, then, you know, have fun on keto, bro. Like, nobody's stopping you, and, you know, you're not like, you know, people might judge you a little bit, you feel me, but it's still, you know, just pretty good to have in general. So yeah, that's all I have to say about keto. It's race dependent, but it can either be god tier or shit depending on your race. Hakuda, you know, another race dependent skill tree. I think Hakuda is the most fun skill tree in the game, in my opinion. Like, comboing kids is a lot of fun. But the thing about Hakuda is it's kind of trash unless you're on a cheese build. Regular Hakuda is kind of mid, but there are a lot of cheese builds on Hakuda. They're like just not skillful and broken as fuck that make Hakuda really good, and that's why I kind of dislike it. They changed Hakuda so much from release that it's not the same anymore. That's why you don't see me play Hakuda anymore, because it's really just not the same. Like, I couldn't win on Hakuda if I hop on a cheese build, but like if I just play Hakuda like how it was meant to be played from the beginning, and, you know, just trying to have fun with it, you know, I'm pretty much never gonna win, right? And that's why I honestly dislike what they made Hakuda into. And, you know, once again, I think it's race dependent. If you're on Soul Reaper Hakuda, god. If you're on Arrancar Hakuda, it's fucking trash. Quincy Hakuda, mid. It's kind of the same thing, actually. I'm noticing that the Arrancar skill trees are trash, and then the Quincy and SR ones are pretty good. But yeah, so I think if you like Hakuda, you should definitely play it. I think a lot of new players, there's like an appeal to Hakuda, but I do think Hakuda is probably like just from a base level, like this might be, you know, controversial, right? But in my opinion, I think from a base level, I think like if you were to start on a skill tree, Hakuda is the hardest one to just start out the game on. So I wouldn't recommend Hakuda to new players because it takes some getting used to the combos and shit like that, and also just up tilting people in general. But you know, I think if you want to play Hakuda, then like go ahead, bro. Like it's not hard to play any of these skill trees, and like in my opinion, right? It's hard to get at the game, but just to play the skill trees is not that hard. So if you're a new player, like don't let that discourage you. Like if you truly want to play Hakuda and just like try it out and then, you know, get good with it, just stick with it and then get good. But yeah, I think with Hakuda, your playstyle is just gonna be, I don't even talk about playstyles, fuck. I'm gonna talk about them after this. So with Hakuda, your playstyle, it has to be really aggressive, to be honest. Hakuda is not really like a passive skill tree. Like you really have to be in their face to do damage to them because it has almost no range moves and your damage is entirely reliant on combos, right? So Hakuda is more like a whittle them down thing. It's like if you like, you know, just like seeing your opponent make a mistake and then you just punish them for it, that's exactly what Hakuda is like. When you see your opponent like waste their dodge, or if you know they have high posture, you can punish them for it with Hakuda really easily. And when they get punished, bro, they get fucking punished, bro. Like you're giving them pain, bro. Like it's bad. But I think Hakuda definitely does take some skill, right? With Kendo, I feel like Kendo is also more of an aggressive skill tree. You kind of just want to play aggro and just like kind of just, you know, throw out your moves, because Kendo has a lot of raw moves that you can use just to like gap close and, you know, deal damage. It doesn't have any range moves, so you also, you know, kind of have to be closer to them for that, you know, same reason. But Kendo does have a lot of gap closures, so it allows you to be close to them because of that. So I think Kendo is really aggressive, but you can also play passive on it if you want. I think Kendo is very versatile. I think speed is more versatile, but Kendo is just, you know, really versatile in general. And I think it's fun too, you know. I don't like playing it just because I think, you know, it's boring, to be honest. Like I don't like just throwing out moves, and, you know, I just don't really like it, you know. But there is also like a skill gap with Kendo, and I think it's very beginner friendly. So if that sounds like something that you want to play, then, you know, go ahead and try it out and see how you like it. Keto is just really just a lifestyle, bro. Like a lot of people love Keto, a lot of people hate it. It's kind of just like an S-hold zoning playstyle, which, you know, it can definitely be fun. And if that's the type of playstyle you like in games, then I think you should definitely try out Keto and, you know, see how you like it, you know, depending on your race. I think Quincy Keto is probably the most fun Keto, just because you just shoot out a bunch of fucking arrows and it's fun. I actually kind of like Quincy Keto, to be honest. I used to play it back in the day, but I don't anymore. But, you know, if you like zoning, then you know, try out Keto and then see how you like it. For speed, I think speed is just like a very versatile skill tree. You can play aggressive with it, you can play really passive with it, you can, you know, catch people on the, you know, you can punish people with it for, you know, missing their end lag, and then, you know, dodge fast fang, you know, dodge flash fang. It has good gap closers. It has, you know, hyper moves with waterfall dance. The only thing it's really missing is, you know, the counter, but you can make up for it. You just have to sacrifice some things for it. But speed is just, it has everything in my opinion. It has combos, it has, you know, gap closers, it has, you know, kind of mid damage, but it's not terrible either. I think the speed is kind of just a jack of all trades, to be honest. You can do anything you want with it, and you can play however you want to play with it. You can play as passive or aggressive as you want to, and that's kind of how you see me play. Honestly, I'll play very aggressive when, like, you know, I know my opponent, like I could like kind of have them on the ropes, I guess. You'll see me play really aggressive when I know, you know, I can like whittle them down and then apply pressure. And then when my moves are off cooldown, you might see me back up a little bit and then, you know, play, you know, range, and maybe I'll poke them with a Shinso Z, you know. But speed is my love. I don't think I've ever switched off speed ever since, you know, the game dropped, besides Hakuda. I used to play Hakuda a lot, but they changed it, so now I don't anymore. But I think speed is just a very high skill ceiling, like just, you know, skill tree that you can use and, you know, really try and get good at the game with. So I think that's really all I have to say about the different, you know, combinations in this game and what to use. If you have any questions, you know, feel free to add me on Discord. I also have a Discord server that I just made for this video, for you guys that want to interact or talk with me. So I'm going to leave the link to that in the description. I think I'm going to go back to the start of the video and then also talk about the Discord server, you know, over there. But yeah, you know, if you want to talk to me, join the Discord server. I put a lot of work into these videos. As you can see, it's like pushing 30 minutes long right now. So if you could, you know, like, comment, and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. And you know, I can be able to keep on making content for you guys like this. And so yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help a lot more than you think. And that's all I really have to talk about. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.